Friends, many times the truth is in front of us, but we don't want to see it, because we always want to see something extraordinary, and magicians take advantage of that and fool us. This is what we see in this movie. So hello friends to our channel, quick recaps. Today I'm going to explain the movie The Prestige, released in the year 2006. Spoilers ahead, watch out, and take care. The movie starts with a magician named Angier, showing off his magic on the stage. Lightning flashes around him, then suddenly a lid opens from under his feet and he falls inside a very large tank of water in the basement. And there the audience is amazed. In the same basement stands a man named Borden, who has come to discover the secret of the magic of Angier. He's also a magician like Angier, and they both are rivals of each other. Angier dies in front of him, and all the blame falls on Borden because he was in the basement. A few days after the performance, stage engineer John Cutter stood before the judges. Cutter testified that the water tanks were used for Angier's first round, which was later removed from the scene. When he saw Borden pass under the stage, he accused him of installing the water tank under the trapdoor where Angier fell to his death. Unconvinced by his testimony, the judge asked Cutter to explain Angier's method of hallucinating known as the real transporter. Cutter admits that disclosing it would render the deed null and void. The judge suggests that Cutter reveal the secrets to him privately to make his decision in full information without revealing the trick to the public. Now during the trial, a lawyer named Owens comes to see Borden, who worked for a collector Lord Cattle, who wanted to buy Borden's magic secrets, but Borden refuses to sell his trick to the famous transport man trick, to which Owen refers to his daughter, and gives him Angier's diary, which he had already bought, which contained all the secrets of Angier, and then reads Angier's diary. Now in a flashback, the story moves from Angier's point of view, and we see Angier come to Colorado Springs to meet Nikola Tesla in connection with a machine. There, Tesla's assistant Ali sends him back through the door. Angier tells him that he has stopped at a nearby hotel. Back at the hotel, he tries to decode the diary stolen from Borden. Now the story runs from the point of view of the Borden, and we arrive at the very beginning of the story in a flashback where both of them started their careers. The two of them had been good friends so far, and both magicians worked as shills for Milton, where Cutter was then Milton's engineer, who used to design machines for him, and Angier's wife Julia also worked for him. During one performance, Angier and Borden, posing as spectators, were chosen to tie up Milton's assistant, Julia. While he tied her legs, Angier kissed Julia's legs, making her smile. Julia was thrown into a pool of water before the curtains fell, hiding the tank from public view. The curtains pulled up, revealing Julia safely out of the tank. After the show, Borden complained about Milton's nasty backstage tricks. He claimed to know a trick that no magician could do, but refuses to reveal it. Cutter challenges Borden and Angier to find Chung Ling Su's goldfish trick, promising a chance to perform for top theater employee Mr. Ackerman if they do. Before leaving, Cutter scolds Borden for tying Langford's pear to Julia's wrist, which could put her in danger. Borden insists his knot is better. When Borden was gone, Cutter then scolded Angier for kissing Julia's feet on stage, which may have led the audience to reveal that she was his wife. At Tenley, Borden and Angier watched Chung Ling Su's performance, where he conjures objects including an aquarium from thin air. Borden guessed that Chung Ling Su was pretending to be old to hide her accessories under loose clothing and a hunched posture. That night, Angier tried the trick announced by Borden but had trouble walking with a jar under the clothes. Angier doesn't understand the idea of living a lie like Borden thinks Chung Ling Su did. Angier claims he only changed his name to relieve his family of the shame of his stage career. Meanwhile, Borden meets Sarah and the two become close. Now during a show, Julia performs the act, but she can't get out of the tank because Borden changed the knot of his hand this time. She fails to untie the knot, then drowns and dies. The next day when Borden arrives at the funeral, Angier asks him which knot he tied. Borden says, "I don't know anything and don't remember," and goes from there. From there, things get trickier and they both become enemies of each other. After that, both of them try their luck in their own way. Borden marries Sarah and hires Fallon, an engineer, to make his own props. Now, in a scene when Borden is performing a bullet catch trick, Angier secretly puts real bullets in the gun to avenge him. He shoots at Borden, which cuts off 2 of his fingers. On the other hand, he rents a theater together with Cutter and has an assistant, Olivia, to perform tricks now during a show. Borden arrives unscathed and destroys Angier's trick, which injures a man's hand. Due to this, the theater owner cancels the booking with them. Now fast forward, Borden comes back with a new trick named Transported Man. Under this act, he goes to the cabinet lying on the stage and comes out of the other cabinet in the blink of an eye. When Olivia and Angier find out, they go to see his trick and try to understand his trick. But they are also surprised to see how he performs all this. Cutter tells him that he uses a body double. Olivia and Angier are very sure that if Borden goes to one cabinet, he will come out of the other. Beyond that, the question was, how can this act be tackled? Meanwhile, Olivia and Angier get close to each other. Now, Angier comes up with a new version of this trick and finds out his twin, whose name is Gerald Root, but working with him is not so easy, because he's an alcoholic. But he would also perform the act well, and gradually his show also starts getting the audience. Angier thought it was a bit awkward, because at the end of the act, Angier was at the bottom of the stage and all the strings went to the Root, which made Angier a little unhappy. But Cutter explains to him that the first part of the trick is everything, and Root will not be able to do all of that. So Angier agrees. Angier wanted to somehow locate Borden's trick, so he sends Olivia to him to find out his secret. But Olivia falls in love with Borden and she becomes his assistant. Thinking that a man can send his love to someone else for his own benefit, so how can my future be safe with him? Meanwhile, Borden asks Root to demand money from Angier, and during a show, Borden spoils Angier's act, which breaks his leg by falling off at the stage. And under the same pretext, he also promotes his show across the street. Now in the next scene, Angier comes over to meet Olivia, and he was thinking that Olivia had really met Borden. To prove her sincerity, she gives him Borden's stolen diary. The diary is coded. Only Borden knows the code. With the help of Cutter, Angier kidnaps Borden's engineer Fallon and demands the code from him. But in the meantime, a bullet hits the shoulder of Cutter. Now, a meeting is fixed instead of Fallon. He gives the code to Angier. When Angier sees the code, the name Tesla is written on it. Angier thinks that the machine with which he performs the transportation act must have been made by Nikola Tesla. So he goes to the United States to make a machine out of it, and there he asks Nikola Tesla to make for himself the same machine he made for Borden. But Tesla says he did not make such a machine, but after Angier insists, Tesla get to agree. While reading Borden's diary at the hotel, he discovers that Borden lied to him on purpose, and it was deliberately sent to him to the United States. So he goes to talk to Tesla about it, but until then he has made a machine for him. Instead of transporting an object, the machine clones it. Now here we see the starting scene, where there are so many hats in the forest. There are actually the same hats and they were made using Tesla's experiment, which he himself doesn't know. When they measure those hats, they realize that they were all copies of real hats, and it was very difficult to tell the difference between real and fake hats. Sarah, on the other hand, is suspicious of Borden, that he is hiding something from her, any secret that he doesn't want to be told, which made her a little upset. The next day, when Angier goes to see Tesla, he sees that Tesla's house has been reduced to ashes. Tesla's rival, Thomas Eloy Edison, set fire to Tesla's house. Tesla has to leave the city. Before leaving, he leaves a machine at the hotel for Angier, with which a warning is given, that he would finish this machine as soon as possible, because it will give him nothing but sorrow. Now at the present, Lawyer Owens comes to meet Borden, and Borden gives all of his tricks instead of the prestige part, and he deals with him that he will give prestige only when he meets with his daughter. Saddened by Borden's personality, Sarah hangs herself and died. Now after that, Borden meets Olivia and tells him he loves her, but Olivia doesn't believe him and she leaves him. Then Angier reunites with the Cutter and brings a new show with this machine and keeps all the blind people as his assistant because now he doesn't want to take any risks. Now under this act, he goes into the machine and disappears, and then comes back from the back of the stage in a second. Borden is also surprised to see his show. How can a man disappear from the stage and cover a distance of 50 yards in 1 second? How? He also discusses it with his engineer Fallon, but he doesn't get the answer. So he goes to see Angier's show again, but this time he cleverly goes down the stage, where his trap door opened. Here we see the opening scene of the movie, where Borden goes down the stage to discover his secret, where Angier drowns and Borden gets caught in the act of his murder, and he is sentenced to death. Now Lord Cadlow's lawyer comes to buy the machine from Cutter. Cutter tells him he wants to buy the machine himself. The motive of Cutter behind the purchase was to destroy the machine, so that no one else can use it, because its truth was very terrible. After that, Lord Cadlow goes to meet Borden with his daughter, and here we find out that Lord Cadlow is Angier, but how did it happen when he was dead? Borden is shocked to see him, and Borden gives him the secret of his trick, the transported man. Angier tears it apart, and he tells him that he is just a better magician than him, and from there he goes with his daughter Jess. After that, Cutter meets Lord Cadlow, but when he sees that he is still alive, he also gets shocked that an innocent person is being punished because of him. At Angier's request, he puts Tesla's machine in his theater with prestige material. On the other side, Borden is hanged in prison and dies. Here, with Angier, he puts the machine in his theater and leaves. After he leaves, an unknown person arrives and shoots Angier. Actually, that person is Borden, and the one who was hanged was his own twin brother. Here, Angier realizes that the two twin brothers he used to perform the transportation tricks. When one was Borden, the other was Fallon. So, Fallon also has to cut his fingers so that no one doubts him. Now that Borden was in love with Sarah and his brother is in love with Olivia, Sarah had to sacrifice for his trick because she never understood him. Now here, Angier reveals his secret. That machine cloned him every time. Little did he know, however, that he would become an Angier, drowning in a box or applause. And it takes a lot of courage to do that, because he had to die every day to do his act. Saying so much, he dies and his lantern falls, which causes fire in the theater. In the last scene, we are shown the water tank lying in the theater, in which Angier's dead bodies are lying, and the movie ends here. But wait, want to watch how this group of astronauts travel through the portal in search of another planet in space to save humanity from extinction? Trust me, this movie's a killer. Check that out now. That was all from the video. I hope you liked it. Subscribe for more content like this.